In this video, we'll be solving a word problem using the quadratic formula. The word problem is there's a city and its population is given by this equation that you see here, p brackets t or p at t equals 6t squared plus 100t plus 4,000, where t is the time in years since the year 2000 and p is the population. And the question is, when will the population reach 6,000 people? And the answer is going to be key step, first step, sub in 6,000 for the population, the left-hand side. The right-hand side stays the same. And now, once you've got that all written out, you want to move everything to one side. You can move everything left, but hopefully you see here, it'd be way easier to get everything on the right. How do you get rid of positive 6,000? Subtract 6,000 both sides. When you do that, you get 0 on one side, and on the other side 6t squared plus 100t, and then plus 4,000 minus 6,000 is minus 2,000. We're going to do quadratic formula. You have to know it off by heart. You should identify this is the A, this is the B, this is the C, or you can write them out. A equals 6, B equals 100, C equals negative 2,000. And let's go start our quadratic formula. Know this formula. Gotta know it. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So sub in. X equals negative b, that's negative 100, I'm looking down here, plus or minus the square root of b squared, that's 100 squared, minus 4 times, what's the a value? 6, times, what's the c value? Make sure you put the brackets because it's timesing, it's not subtracting 2,000. All over 2 times a. What's a again? 6. Alright, start to simplify and leave this negative 100 alone, but plus or minus the square root of 100 squared. You can do that in your head. I'm getting my calculator ready. You can use your calculator if you want, won't judge you. And now I want to do the second part, negative 4 times 6 times negative 2,000, which is 48,000, positive. You could have just done the numbers knowing it's going to be a positive, because negative times negative is a positive times a positive to you. And all that's over 12. So x equals negative 100 plus or minus the square root of 10,000 plus 48,000, that's just 58,000. I can do that in my head. All over 12. Notice my square root goes a little bit long. That's okay. Better to be long than miss numbers. If you miss numbers, if it doesn't cover the whole thing, it's communication error. Okay, at this point, that's usually where I split it up. Now that I've got everything else simplified, I split this into two possibilities. Either x is negative 100 plus the positive version, 58,000 square rooted, all over 12. You won't believe how many people forget this divide by 12. Don't forget it. Or the negative version, x is negative 100 minus. Notice it's only this plus or minus. Both of them are negative 100, but negative 100 plus or negative 100 minus 58,000 square rooted, all over 12. And I'm going to calculate that all at once. I'm pretty sure there's going to be rounding involved, so I put a rounding dot ahead of time. What's negative 100 plus the square root of 58,000? I'm going to hit equals, then divide by 12, and I get 11 point, let's round to 2 decimal places, 11.74. Let's put 11.74. Oh, by the way, where did I get that 4 from? It's 735. The 5 means round this 3 up. That's where I got 11.74. What's the other answer? Well, first I got to calculate it. So x equals negative 100 minus the square root of 58,000 equals, divide by 12, and I get x is negative 28.40. The 2 means round down, and I've got it. Now, one thing, can you have negative years? No. So we're going to reject this answer. It has to be in the future, right? The population's not going to go backwards in time. So we write clearly inadmissible or reject. And now we go up and make our concluding statement. Just before we do, though, it doesn't actually ask in how many years. It says when, and it probably means like what year. So we want to say, okay, the year is going to be the year 2000, because it's from the year 2000, plus, and here I have 11.74, that's approximately 12. Let's write that. It's approximately 12 years from now. So the year is 2000 plus 12, which obviously is 2012. Now we can write our therefore statement. In 2012, it will reach 6,000 people. And we're done. We solved a quadratic word problem by subbing in the population we were looking for, getting one side equal to 0, and then using quadratic formula. We came up with two solutions, but one of them was negative, so we rejected it. And in this case, since it was years, we rounded to the nearest year and stated the answer not as how many years, but actually what year it occurred.